Hello and welcome to today's video. Right here I've got an iPhone 4S that is running iOS 6. And on this iPhone is a handful of apps and games, as you can see here. Today we're going to go through each one of them, see if they work, and look at how well they perform. Let's start with Minecraft. This is version 0.14.3. And it is pretty smooth, although the render distance looks like it's pretty short. Well, render distance is at max, fancy graphics is turned on. This is running pretty well. It's not loading the map very quickly, but the part that is loaded does a pretty good job. Although it's hard to recommend playing Minecraft on this 3.5-inch display. But back when this iPhone was new, this felt more or less just fine. So running around on the ground as you would in survival mode, this iPhone 4S is handling Minecraft pretty well. All right, let's move on. Next on our list is Balloons Tower Defense 5. Looks like I already had a previous game saved on here, and we'll go ahead and start with that. So this is a very simple game where you place monkeys that defend against the balloons as they make their way through the map. And this game is running very smoothly. I'd imagine as the rounds increase and more balloons fill the map, there may be an increased amount of lag as this processor has to handle an increasing number of objects throughout the game. But for now, this game's running fine. Scrolling through the menu is very smooth. I'm not seeing any stutters here. It just seems like it is locked at 60 frames per second, which is nice. All right. Next on our list, Subway Surfer. Now, this is certainly not the most recent version of Subway Surfer. Whatever update this is in Kenya must have been the last supported version for iOS 6. I'm expecting this to run pretty well on here, and we'll give it a try. This is a very smooth 60 frames per second. Not a super demanding game, but I'd imagine if you tried playing this on an iPhone 4, the results would not be this good. The dual-core A5 chip in this iPhone and its respective GPU does a very good job, especially on iOS 6. Oops. All right, that'll end that game. Next on our list, Flappy Bird. You can see my high score is 44. We can try to beat that, although that may be a bit optimistic. All right, not so good, but the game is very smooth, extremely playable, and very challenging. I'm doing much better this time. All right, 14. Not quite 44, but still pretty good, enough to earn us a medal. Next on the list, simple physics. In this game, the goal is to build a structure, which I have already done here, and it has to surpass the stress that is placed on it. So I will clear what I have added, and this simple staircase is what the game starts you off with, but obviously that is not going to be able to support the weight. We'll give this a try. This looks decent. And see if it can withstand the pressure. No, not even close. Either way, this game is very playable, although it is a little difficult to draw the design on the small screen. Plants vs. Zombies 2 is the next game on our list. So far, I'm doing pretty well, and so is this iPhone 4S. This is certainly not a very demanding game, but nonetheless still fun to play. I won't bore you guys by playing the entire level, so let's move on to the next game, which is going to be Hungry Shark. If I remember correctly, this is a pretty demanding game, so I won't be surprised if we see the iPhone 4S not performing very well on this game. The goal in this game is just to swim around and eat the small stuff and not get eaten by the bigger stuff. As you can tell, it is fairly smooth, but there are certainly some spikes of lag, as you can see right there. I would consider this playable. Not the best experience, but not too bad from a... Ooh, diver got me. All right, moving on. Next up is Zombie Farm. I don't know if this app is going to work. I remember this having some trouble in the past. Alright, well, it looks like I'm going to win that battle there against the farmer. That game runs well, although it might be a little boring. Next up is Tiny Tower. Looks like I've got quite the platform here, quite the skyscraper. 33 floors. And this is not the smoothest experience. That could be a result of me having a massive building here. I'd say this is at most 30 frames per second. Not a bad experience, but I think 60 is always the goal. All right, let's move on. Skee-Ball. This one should perform pretty well. We'll see if I can get anything above a 10 or a 20. I think if you tilt the device, that actually affects the way the... Oh, there we go, there's 100. Nice. I think if you tilt the device, that affects which way the Skee-Ball goes once it's in the air. All right, well, that was a pretty good experience. Runs nice and smooth on here. Now we'll test Crush the Castle. I could be wrong, but I believe this was a computer game back in the day. Very similar to Angry Birds. You try to fling the stones, and the goal is to eliminate the people in the castle. And I am not doing very well. That's a little better, and it's not gonna go down there. All right, well, this game runs pretty smooth, no complaints here. Next up is iBomber 2. I think I need to tilt the device for this, so I apologize if that impacts how you guys see the game. There's a ship. Let's see if we can hit it with the bombs. So far, it looks like I'm doing pretty well, but maybe these ships that are actually sailing are going to present more of a problem. And that one's going down. Overall, a good experience on iBomber 2. Now, let's test our last game, and that's going to be Asphalt 6. I think we'll take the Ferrari on a race here in Nassau. Well, they started us in last place. See if we can catch up by taking a little shortcut here as I pick up some bonus cash. And we'll go through some boosts here, see if we can catch the other vehicles. Not sure why we're not getting any sound. Maybe I have that turned off. As I move into 5th place, and see if we can get 4th. And an adrenaline rush there as we take 3rd place, and now we're in 2nd. Take a shortcut through the beach here. And that's going to put us neck and neck with the 1st place driver. There we go. All right, this game's very playable, runs really smoothly. I am happy with that. Next up, let's check some of the apps. Let's try YouTube, which is probably not going to load because I'm not on Wi-Fi. But I don't think YouTube works on iOS 6 anyway. Spotify, I don't know if this still works. Well, we get to at least see this part of it. Again, no Wi-Fi, so I'm not going to try to log in. Snapchat, there's no way this works, but maybe it'll at least show us the login screen. There we go. Suppose we could try signing up, but oops. Let's keep going. Slow Pro, this is a camera application that allows you to record slow motion video on older iOS devices. But it doesn't look like it's doing 60 FPS. But that's definitely slower. So I guess you could say that's working. Next up, Geekbench 3. This is just a app that's going to show you the specs of your device, and it'll give you a score based on the processor performance. Again, the iPhone 4S has the dual-core A5 chip clocked at 800 megahertz and a 0.5 GB of RAM. Maps.me is a map application that allows you to download maps for offline use. This is useful when traveling abroad. There we are in Miami. This app looks like it still works well. So even without internet, this map will let you navigate. Although if you zoom way in, it'll ask you to download that area. So you can download different portions of maps depending on where in the world you are traveling to if you do not plan on having service. That app still works great. And last up, we have Quizlet, which is a flashcard app. Check out some US history terms there. Got the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln, some different policies and people from the late 1800s. I guess this app still works. Not sure if you could add new things or not. But that is going to conclude our look at this iPhone 4S running iOS 6 in 2023, testing various apps and games. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's always fun to go back in time here and look at some of these apps, maybe some that you guys used back when you had one of these devices, or maybe you still play them, like Minecraft or Subway Surfer, I'd imagine are still somewhat popular. Let me know down in the comments below if you still play any of these games, or if you've still got your old iPhone. If you do, I'd say find it, give it a charge, and see what's on there. You may surprise yourself. Anyway, that's been it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.